Formula E race is definitely chock full of excitement. I'd have to say that it's actually better than a Formula One race because of several factors. There's the first one is the spec racing aspect of it. All the manufacturers run the same chassis, but they have their own specific powertrain. Like for example, Nissan has their own version, so they have to engineer all of those things. But when it comes to tires, the body, the aero, they all run the same package.
The way Formula E works is all 22 cars from 11 teams and manufacturers here all have the same spec chassis. So the aerodynamics, the carbon fiber chassis, the front suspension, the Michelin all-weather tyres and the wheels, and the battery. All those parts are standard parts that everyone has to use. So everything behind the battery, so from the inverter, the electric motor, the regeneration unit, the transmission cooling, the rear suspension and the rear brake. So basically if you broke the car behind the battery, everything back is built and developed by each manufacturer. So the powertrain is unique to these two Nissans, and the other manufacturers also make their own powertrain.
So because of that, the driver skill plays a bigger role. So that's one of the reasons why Formula E is a much more exciting race. With Formula One, you have certain manufacturers just dominate the season over and over again. So it does get kind of boring, and me personally, I have to focus on the mid-pack to see some excitement. But for Formula E, it seems like every race there can be like a different outcome. Every qualifying, there's like a different pole sitter. There's always a different podium. So it's always interesting to watch. Second reason, there's going to be more manufacturers coming on board for the 2020 season. For example, Porsche and Mercedes-Benz is going to join the field. So here behind me is the Mercedes Formula E car that's going to be participating in the 2020 season. So they can't tell me much what's going to be behind the powertrain design, but basically it's going to be the same idea. It's going to be the same chassis. Again, this is the Dallara chassis. It's going to be the same suspension, bodywork, aero, but the powertrain is going to be different. So battery is also going to be provided by McLaren. So all the teams are going to be running McLaren batteries, but the powertrain, the inverter, the motor, that's all going to be Mercedes design. So are they going to dominate Formula E in 2020 just like they've been dominating Formula One for the past decade? We shall find out next year. And also what's cool about Formula E is that it takes place in all the city centers. So I'm here in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and you can see back there, very tiny, is the Statue of Liberty, and right back there is the New York City skyline. So, well, you can't quite see it there, but trust me, there's the New York City skyline back there. But it's such a beautiful place. You know, this is cities are really the perfect place to have a Formula E race, because the whole idea of Formula E is not just the racing, but it's also the technology behind the race. So this is really where each manufacturer can showcase their technologies. It's going to be coming up in their consumer cars. So of course, these are all pure electric vehicles, and it's funny to think that usually you take technology from the track and apply it to the road, but for here, a lot of the technologies that you find in these Formula E race cars are actually found in the road cars. For example, the Nissan Leafs or the Jaguar I-Pace. So a lot of the code that is run on those cars are actually run in the Formula E cars. So pretty interesting to think that, again, it's usually track to the road, but in this case, it's road to the track. So moving on to the other grandstand, you can kind of see it's kind of empty right now because the race is going to go on a couple of hours later, but people are trickling in right now. But to continue my point as to why Formula E is better than Formula One, well, anything can happen in this race, and there's a lot of randomness, and that's really because of all the different stuff that goes on the track. This is literally like Mario Kart, because there's this thing called attack mode, but basically every car is capable of doing up to 250 kilowatts worth of power. Along the race, they're running nominally 200 kilowatts of power for most of the race. But when you go over a certain section of the track, you activate attack mode, and what that means is that you get 50 kilowatts more power for 4 minutes. So you have to do that twice during a race. So basically you get 8 minutes worth total of maximum power. So what that means is that you have 25% more power for that 4 minutes worth of time. Now the race is only 45 minutes long, so it is a pretty significant chunk of time out of the race. But it'll be interesting to see how the different racers utilize max attack mode, basically, when they'll use it, how they'll use it against their opponent. There's also the fan boost element. Now, I haven't seen anything like this in any other forms of racing, but Formula E has their own app, and they also have a lot of social media experts, I guess, that take a look at all the tweets and all the different social media activity regarding all the different drivers. But basically, the more popular or the more trending a driver is, the higher the likelihood that they'll get fan boost. Now, fan boost is basically the same thing as going through those attack mode, so they'll get another boost of power. That's another 4 minutes of 50 kilowatts worth. So that's a game changer, because not everyone's going to get that, and that could totally make the difference in a race. But as far as what I've seen so far, there's a lot of factors involved here. The margins are so much closer. The tracks are so much narrower. It seems like the cars are just as big as a Formula One car. But all of those elements add up to a really exciting race. So I'm now sufficiently sunburned, so I'm going to check out. I'm just going to wrap up the video right there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what your thoughts are. Did you learn something? If you found this entertaining, please consider give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so you can get notified anytime we make a new video. Anyway, this is me signing off. This is Red Hook Brooklyn for the 2019 Formula E race for rounds 12 and 13 in New York City. This has been exciting, and I'll catch you next time.